Good morning, Ajay. It's nice to be talking to you again. I think this is the second video that is going to focus a lot on the entire Mauj concept and philosophy and the real foundation of it. I think last time we discussed what really Mauj means, and how is it different from happiness and just sadness, which are very raw emotions that aren't entirely dependent on us. There are a million other factors in play, and how to be okay with all of that. And essentially, that is what you have described as the primary motivation of all human beings, is to essentially maximize this joy or Mauj. Today, I think what I want to understand is what are the top 3 reasons, let's say, that or top 5 if you want to break it down like that, but what are the top reasons why people aren't happy, why people aren't in Mauj? How is my Mauj being taken away?
Right. So I think interesting question, right, Dhruv? You said that how is my Mauj being taken away? So are you saying that you have Mauj inherently in you and therefore it's being taken away? Is that the point?
Because I think, since we obviously talk about this, so I know a little bit about your beliefs and where this entire thing is coming from. But as a child, I remember, and I think whenever I notice children, they seem to be extremely happy, regardless of, if like their external circumstances, if they fall down, chot lag gayi, they start crying, or if they really want something, can't get it, they start making a fuss, more like it. But kids are never really unhappy. Wherever they are, they're running about, having a good time, minding their own business. Not too future oriented, not goal oriented at all. It's all about, living in the moment, so to speak. So I do believe, and I remember my childhood also being like that. And eventually when you grow up in life, I think you get a little serious, and eventually that seriousness turns into sadness and so on and so forth. I think everyone experiences that. So yes, I do believe somewhere Mauj is inherent. I think answer the question how I asked it.
Right.
How is my Mauj being taken away?
Mauj being taken away. So actually, you're right, that Mauj is inherently a part of our nature. It is not something that is somewhere outside and we have to go there and get Mauj.
Okay.
Very important thing to understand. We don't have to find joy. There is some store or some place, I'll go there and find joy, whether it is Himalayas or ashrams or, disco, pubs or whatever. There's nothing called place where you can find joy. Okay, so Mauj being taken away there's only one reason to my mind, is that when people have fixed notions, okay, and the life doesn't happen according to those fixed notions, that is when, people have a sense of loss of joy. Okay. That is what I feel is the only reason.
All right, so let's use an example here. So maybe use relationships.
So just let me elaborate a little bit more on that. When I say fixed notions, it is not fixed notions about others. Oh, you are like that, you are like this, you are like that, you're not giving me this, you're not giving me that. It is not only limited to that. Clearly, if somebody, you expect something to do and he doesn't do that for you, etc., you have a sense of frustration, etc., etc. That's one level of why people are not, able to enjoy a sense of Mauj, right? You also have some notions about yourself, and if you don't come up to those levels, or you're not able to lead the life you have about yourself, the notions that you have about yourself, that also is a reason why you are not able to live joyfully. Because you have fixed notions about yourself, how you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be. Now you could be yourself, you could be, even people get upset with God. Oh God, you're not fair to me. Okay. Oh God, my life is not fair. Now that statement has a genesis that you had a fixed notion. Okay, my life had to be like this. But and if it doesn't happen like that, you have a sense of loss of joy. But otherwise, if you didn't have any fixed notion, if you think about it, right, you go to an unknown place, okay, and you have no idea what that place is going to be. And you just go there as an explorer, and you just look around, and you do things, and you meet people, you enjoy different cuisine, etc. Now, you don't have a fixed notion, right, how that thing might be. You are more likely to enjoy the things as they are. Now, if you watch some YouTube videos, right, before you go to any destination, and you say, oh, this is thing to be seen, this is thing to be done, blah, blah, blah. Now, watching that video is actually nothing but giving you a sense of a notion, how that trip might be, how that cuisine might be, how that whole place might be,
builds up your expectations.
It's a notion, right? Okay, and that becomes your benchmark. Okay, now when you go there, it may happen that the actual experience could be much better than what you've seen in YouTube videos, and therefore you have a higher sense of joy. But it may also happen that you have a sense of frustration, because maybe the place was closed, or maybe it was too crowded. In the YouTube videos it looks all pristine, but now you see a lot of people being there. So anything which actually helps you become notionless is something, or let's say notion filled, is something which comes in the way of you not being able to enjoy. So any kind of conditioning that you have given to your mind is something that comes in the way of you giving away your Mauj.
Understood. So I think let's use a few examples that might be relatable. So let's talk about career choices, right? I think that's one of the most important choice or a decision that a young teenager eventually moving into adulthood makes, that largely affects their entire life a lot and those around them, right? So most people end up choosing this careers that, let's say, to at least be moving towards that let's say openness in society or an environment where it's not I did this because my parents asked me to do. There are still obviously a large number of cases people choose careers because based on someone else's let's say wanting, but there are more than enough examples of people. So for example, even me and at least all my friends that grew up around, we all chose careers that we thought we'll be very happy in. And I guess sure, it's still a little early for us, but I've seen more than enough people choose the careers they wanted, go to the colleges they wanted to get into, get the dream job they want, and yet their Mauj is not there. So life did turn out according to their notions they had of their life, and yet it does not give them happiness. And you have more than enough examples of these people spending God knows how many lakhs on their education, how many man hours in their job, only by the end of it to leave it and do something as simple as stand-up comedy, right? You yourself started as a tax professional, and I'm sure that studying taxation has got to be one of the most difficult challenges that you faced in life. You did all of that. You were at PwC, you were at EY, you did all of that to leave all of that and teach people how to be happy. So clearly, I'm not saying that when you were living it, while you were doing it, you were really unhappy, but somewhere or the other, several years down the line, you realize that that's not the dream you wanted to pursue. So I'm saying, and you have the courage to take that choice, to leave it all behind and decide this is not giving me happiness anymore. Here's what I've got to do to be happy. I'm saying for people who decide what goals they want, end up achieving them, and still don't have Mauj in their life.
Right, so goals and Mauj, basically saying that you have certain goals, you pursue those goals, and even while you're successful in achieving those goals, and somewhere down the line you find that, oh, this is not really giving me, sort of a sense of joy, and therefore I should quit. So, taking my own example, okay, of course, I did all of this not very consciously, okay. Because everybody was pursuing CA, in late 80s, so I also did that. Okay, so all we had to do was to, find a job, get paid, and then so look at the basics. Okay, India was just about to, take off as an economy. So in '92, when I qualified, there was nothing, as such MNC investment, no foreign investment came into India, had come to India by then. So clearly, we got the jobs and we did everything. So I really enjoyed whatever I was doing. But somewhere down the line, inherently, so if the certain actions which I had to do, and I did that, but I knew that certain actions came very naturally to me when I was talking to my friends, if they had any problem, when I was talking to them. I was truly in the moment, as compared to any situation where I had to really go out of the country and compete for a larger client, where there are 4 or 5 other people wanting to get his attention. I also enjoyed that, but I had to do a little bit of an extra hard work, and that extra hard work, which I enjoyed doing that, but it was not as enjoyable as compared to when I was, in the zone while talking to people, let's say counseling my team and asking them to do better. So there are layers of, happiness. For example, I'm happy doing this, but I have to do a little bit of hard work. I don't like this part of my job, for example, but I still have to do it but I don't mind doing it, because it's only 5% in an 8-hour job, which is where I'm in an unhappy moment, unhappy zone. but rest of the 7.5 hours is really great fun. Okay, so I was fine with that. But as time goes by, you know, the so-called thing which really gives you the joyous moment, it kind of takes you over. That's my sense. You know, as you grow, the moments which actually give you the maximum sense of joy, and you have no sense of timing, and you're truly in the zone, it eventually takes you over. The only thing is that somebody has to pay attention to it. And I would also say the environment, you know, it should be such that where you are inside. For example, when I decided to quit my first job in PwC, I was feeling, although I was doing very well at such a high position, but I had somehow lost interest in what I was doing. Sort of there was a sense that let me go out and try to do something else in terms of you know, in tax technology space, because what I was finding that there was only one set of knowledge which I was talking to 15 clients, same knowledge multiple times. So I said, why do this, right? Why can't we have a technology enabled delivery of knowledge to the clients, and that will actually help us free up the time and people can do something else. So that was the trigger. Obviously that didn't take off for, you know, various assumptions which I took were wrong. But eventually then I moved to a tax technology role in EY. I was you know, asked to run tax technology because I had ventured out and did 1 year of tax technology work. Huge amount of personal learning and brilliant opportunity. Some of the, I think, first time projects got done. So personally speaking, anything which helps me learn more really excites me a lot. And I think, but even after that, you know, there was again an endeavor to sort of go out and have a larger than India impact. Somehow things didn't work out. So in that sense, I had to fall back on my natural love, which is about, okay, looking at those moments where there was no sense of timing, going out and sharing you know, your thoughts with people, learning from them, and that is how the change happened from what was once found very good to the later half of life, and then what I'm doing right now. So this is something which I enjoy doing. So as I said, if you do things which you enjoy, I can guarantee you the rest of the guys will enjoy. You don't things to make others, so there is no endeavor, okay, others who are watching this video, you know, or anything else will become more joyful, etc., etc. It is their personal calling. I'm doing it because I enjoy doing it. There is no social motive behind it. My trigger is, you know, not to sort of, you know, okay, change Dhruv, okay, Dhruv should be better. My goal is not to change you, okay, my goal is to do what I enjoy doing. So that is what you can have some notions about yourself, which of course is one way to do it. But if I have notions about how effective my conversation is with Dhruv, has he changed, has his life changed, etc. Now, if I say that I'm a failure because Dhruv didn't change, now that's not the right way. That's not again better way for me to have my joy. So I should have a fixed notion how my conversation is going to help you, how deeply it's going to impact you. But at the same time, I'm 100% sure that if I am doing this activity with pure sense of my own joy, it will definitely touch the hearts of the people. You know, it will definitely sink better.
Well, yes, because see, and I somehow always start comparing these ideas to artists because there have been more than enough examples. For example, Van Gogh, he was never appreciated in his time. He was driven insane, cut off his own ear and whatnot, and died penniless and poor. Today, his paintings are priceless. That means they cannot be bought and sold only, right? Mozart was buried in a mass grave, apparently, right? And these are people for hundreds, for centuries, they have lost it, right? That's because I think they only did what gave them joy, right? So just one thing that I think before we
so on that one,
okay.
I'm not sort of saying that if you do what you end up, you know, liking, will end up you being a Mozart.
Not saying that at all. I'm saying the joy they get while doing that, right? That's all that mattered to them. Their entire pursuit, that their Mauj came from doing their art. It just happened so that, so imagine being Mozart so Mozart was still fairly celebrated in his time. Being Van Gogh, where you're doing something that gives you so much joy, but you're not able to earn money with it, nobody is recognizing it, is more than enough reason to just give it up on day 2 and go back home, right? But I think So yeah, so like Van Gogh, it's so many people were discouraging to him, and every thing from the environment was negative. That, you know what, you should quit, this is not for you. That person, I think his ability to pursue with it, to stick with it, and to actually go ahead with it was because it gave him joy. And it just happened so that later, he was appreciated. So I think what I was trying to say essentially is that it doesn't really matter what other people think, of you, or how they measure your success. And neither should you measure it by other people's standards. If as long as you do what you do and it gives you joy, I think that's what matters.
Yeah, so coming back to in this video, Dhruv said that what takes away joy. So again, if you are a person who thinks very highly of other people, that my joy comes by making others happy, that is what makes you happy. So there's no way that I can belittle that thought of any person. So by all means, go out and impress everybody. Okay, that is my sense of joy. If I can make somebody happy, then I'm happy. That is what I want to do. There is nothing wrong about it. But you must then at the end you realize that if that person is not happy, you can end up being unhappy. That knowledge also should exist then. It should not be that, okay, no, that is wrong, don't do this. By all means, whatever are your desires, whatever you feel like doing, you must go ahead and put 100% effort in that. I can guarantee you that if you're somebody who is a great entertainer who makes everybody happy, and if you do that job really sincerely, and people really can connect with you, people will be able to connect with you if you do your job sincerely, because that's what you like to do. You don't want anybody to hate you, you want them to be really happy. By all means, go and do that. I'm not saying that I am doing this because I want to change you, because I know that I cannot do that. That knowledge exists in me. Okay, so therefore I'm not linking my joy to the fact that I should change. But having said that, maybe I was made in a way that, okay, I should make others happy, only then I'll be happy.
See, and that's completely all right. So when I was saying making other people happy, obviously in a professional setup, or even as an entertainer, right, as a celebrity, as an actor, as a musician, your ultimate aim is that people should enjoy it, right? And which is completely all right. I wasn't speaking in that sense. I'll use a very simple example, all right? I think everyone in India has watched Three Idiots and was able to connect with one particular moment a lot, where this person realizes that, I'm doing engineering because my parents really want me to do engineering. I love my parents, so I will do anything for them to make them happy. Maybe 20 years down the line, I realize that my life's not happy because at the end of the day, I do not like engineering, and I blame them for living a life of misery. So I'm saying in that sense, when you're trying to please, here parents are a very close and personal example. I would say a non-physical entity such as society. Sometimes it expects you to be rich, it expects you to be lean, it expects you to be famous, and if you market that to a child at a very early age, right? If let's say a child goes off to boarding school where everywhere around his environment is of, let's say, showing off, it's about having more money, it's about ownership. That child, how much can you say is that when that child grows up believing that what I need is material things to be happy, what I need is to be accepted and famous, how much of that is actually that child's inner voice saying this is what will make me happy, versus the environment having an impact on what will make that person happy?
That's a very good point. I think it's a separate subject. We should dwell on it more deeply as to if the exposure that a child gets, as he's growing up, how much of that exposure has an imprint on him, why some of the exposures have no imprint on the person completely, because everybody's exposed to social media.
I think we covered what Mauj is. This time we covered what are the general barriers in Mauj, primary of which we have decided, at least agreed upon, is that it's about not having fixed notions, because the minute you have fixed notions and reality is a little different from that, your Mauj gets taken away. I think in the next video what we can delve deeper in is that these the goals that we pursue, the things that we think really make us happy, how much of that is our choice versus how much of it is so what's the role of environment in our choices, so to speak? As always, It's a pleasure talking to you, Ajay. I would urge our viewers to again write comments, share your thoughts. We love hearing from you and what you think of our videos. Like and share it, and please subscribe to our channel, because I think our next video is going to be really good and really thought-provoking. So until next time, I think Mauj lo.
Mauj lo.